Hi, welcome back. I'm Dale if we don't know each other, and I've run 21 marathons, and this video is going to recap a little bit of what marathon number 21 looked like for me.
And my name's Kyle, and this is my fourth marathon. Same recap.
So, we just ran the Ballarat Marathon last weekend, April 27th, and this was only the second year they've done Ballarat, which we couldn't really believe, honestly, because it was so impressive. The whole weekend and the event organization, I just felt like they did a phenomenal job. So we will touch on that, but I think we should first start with a little bit of training. We both trained for 16 weeks, and we also were both coming off of a Chicago Marathon training cycle the season before. So we did 13 weeks leading up to Chicago, which was in October 2024. Took a little break, November, December, and then started training again in January of 2025 for Ballarat. I've done this a few more times than Kyle, but he did a great job with his training as well. And I think it definitely helped both of us that those two training cycles kind of built on each other, because for Chicago, we hadn't done a marathon at all previously in that year. And Kyle probably didn't feel it, but I felt it.
I felt okay. Yeah, I had a really good race in Chicago. I think the training really paid off. This training block was a bit different, I think. We put a lot more focus on doing like speed during the week. So we did a lot of like kind of fast-paced speed workouts. But I think in contrast to our Chicago training block, we didn't do as much pace work during our long runs on the weekends. And that like definitely felt different for how the training block went.
This was also summer in Sydney for this training block, whereas Chicago was winter. So we both would agree that we enjoyed winter training more. It's just easier. Like running in the summer in Sydney is just pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's like we didn't do a good job of getting up early, but even if we did, it was fairly hot. It was probably 22 to 25 degrees
all the time
for every single long run, and the humidity this summer was fairly high. So I don't think I did a single long run with a shirt on in Sydney, because you're just like pouring sweat after like 10 minutes of running.
Yeah, it was a challenging training cycle, and I will touch on some of my like individual difficulties as well. But I think things we did well. We gave ourselves more time. Like we had 16 weeks instead of 13 weeks, which felt really nice. We did a lot more speed, like Kyle said, like faster, shorter speed, which a decent amount of it was actually done on the treadmill at our gym, because it was just, like we said, a very hot summer, and also just crowded. Like summer is really busy where we live. So even if you get up at sunrise, like it's crowded. And sometimes you just don't want to worry about weaving around people and dogs and like thinking about it and crossing roads and all of that. So like
sometimes you leave your run till like 7:30 at night, and then you're like, we got to get it done. Let's go do it on the treadmill.
Also that, but like it was a combination of things, right? And I've found a comfort in doing a few of the speed sessions on the treadmill. So that was kind of nice.
I hate the treadmill, but it was okay for these speed sessions, especially ones where it was like a 2-mile warm up. So you're only kind of really jogging for like 20 minutes. And then it was like we'd do like a couple 400s or a couple 800s with rest in between. I feel like that was manageable. If it was like more than that, though, the treadmill's just not fun.
Yeah. Kyle really doesn't like the treadmill.
Yeah, the gym needs fans. Like,
yeah.
They don't have fans blowing down on you, unfortunately. So, yeah, the treadmill definitely did a wipe down when I was done.
Yeah, but those were good. Also, we're very flexible with our training, with our life. Like, we love to train, we love marathons, but also we love to travel and saying yes to experiences and opportunities. So I'm not one to not do something because I'm training. That does come back to bite me sometimes, but generally, like, I stand by it. I'm here to live my life and enjoy it and also train. And I think it's possible to do both. So we did plan our trip to Japan in the middle of this training cycle, knowing that that was going to be a thing. And I actually think we had great running in Japan. Like we had a couple great like short runs in Tokyo. We did an amazing long run in Shimada that was like an out and back for 20 miles. And totally flat. There was an insane headwind, so we did have to adjust the pace work we had in it for the headwind. Yeah. But we did it, and like honestly, I was very, very proud of that, because like doing a 20-miler while you're like on vacation is kind of cool, I think, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, the headwind was killer. I felt pretty awful during that entire run, or I guess the back half of the run especially. But a lot of the runs we did in Japan were nice. It was definitely cooler weather than Sydney, so it felt really good the whole time.
Yeah, it felt really nice.
Temperature-wise.
So those are things we did well. But like off the back of that Japan trip, things that didn't go well for me, I had the worst food poisoning of my life on the overnight flight back from Japan. I think it was the plane food. Don't know for sure, but hit me within 1 hour of that flight, and I threw up for 7 hours on a plane. So that was like a new fear unlocked that I didn't even know existed.
I was fine.
Kyle was fine, of course.
We ate one thing different. I think that was probably
Yeah.
it. We can't say the word brownie around this house anymore. 'Cause
It's not like it went on for more than one day, but like it took so much out of me, like all of that throwing up, and it honestly like affected my body. Like I went to my physio 4 days after that, and he was like, "What did you do?" Like my whole, like I was like twisted, and it was really bad. Like it had an impact, and I was just exhausted, like from the travel, from that experience. So like I was like kind of down and out, like skipped a long run for like 5 or 6 days after that. And then I was finally feeling good again, and I was like, I'm going to push my long run to Sunday and do just like a 5K easy run on Saturday that following weekend. And I was running by myself. Kyle went up to Narrabeen.
yeah, I did my long run on this Saturday because I went to a Bucks party or was supposed to go to a Bucks party after the run, and I didn't really want to try to run the long run after a Bucks party on Sunday morning, so I went by myself.
So I was by myself, just enjoying a beautiful Saturday in Manly. I was like on the bike path going towards Shelley Beach, which like it's a bike path, but it's also a person path. It's a person path as well. It's a shared path, but I was hugging the far left because there were a lot of bikes going by, and there's just like some uneven bricks around the light posts on that side of the path, and I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't looking at anything. My left foot got caught on a brick that was kind of sticking out, and my right foot was in the air at that exact moment, and I just like ate it. I flew so far forward, landed on my elbow, and then the other elbow, and then my knees. So like I was bleeding in 4 places, and I thought I fractured my elbow. Like it hurt so bad. Pretty much all my weight went down on my left elbow, and that's how I broke my arm as a kid. I fell on my elbow and it cracked my arm like straight across up here. So I feel like that was it was like a little too familiar. And I went home and I like showered and I tried to tell myself it was fine. And then I was like, if my elbow is fractured, I cannot run a marathon in a month or 3 weeks. I don't even remember how much time we had left. 3 weeks, I think, till the marathon. So I was like, I'd rather just go get it checked out, because obviously if my elbow was broken, I wouldn't have been running. And I just wanted an answer. Like I felt it all slip away, even though I'd had 13 great weeks of training. But
Except the end of Japan. Yeah.
except the end of Japan. Like the beginning was really good. Like I had a really solid training cycle and was feeling really strong. Long story short, elbow wasn't broken, thank goodness. That was great, but I still like I was in pain. Like my arms literally like hurt. So the physio there at the hospital was like, you can run, but like you might not want to do as much as you normally would do. So that was another long run that I like missed. Like I did a fraction of it and I didn't do the pace work, but I went out and I ran the next day. And and like
I rested because I had run the day before.
that was kind of it. Like I was like, okay, well, now we taper. So it was not a good feeling going into taper. Like normally I'm feeling like so hyped. I have a great last long run. I'm ready to go. And that did not happen this time.
My long run on the Saturday, I cut short some of the reps. So I think I only did like half of it. But,
More than me.
I was feeling pretty good going into the race though.
Rufus wants to be included. Hi. Do you have anything to say?
Before Ballarat, I realized that we didn't have any gels.
Like the day before we flew?
Yeah, the day before we flew, I realized that we were both trying to use Martin gels, and I realized that we had none. And then I called the running store that we usually go to, and they had none. So we had a bit of a panic the day before we were supposed to travel. But thankfully, the bike shop around the corner had one. So I went and I just like picked up 10 gels, just like walking down the street, like that done. Flew out to Ballarat.
Keep going then if you're...
No, you're doing the recap.
We'd also been in Western Australia the previous week. Like we were only home for 2 days before we flew out to Ballarat. It was a really relaxing trip. Like we had the chance to go to one of our friends' family farms and we slept really well, and that part was all really good. But it was a quick turnaround. Like 2 days, had to say bye to our dog again, which I hate doing, but we had to fly, so couldn't bring him. And we flew out to Avalon, and then we rented a car, and then we drove from Avalon to Ballarat. And we arrived on Friday. Yeah. So our friends Matt and Amy went with us. We were on the same flight, and then we drove with them, and we just had an Airbnb, the 4 of us. It was about 10 minutes from the race start. It was perfect. It was like a big house. We had like a kitchen we could cook in. And it was, as soon as we got there, I think we both felt pretty good. Like it was a relaxed weekend ahead.
We just kind of carb loaded 2 days ahead of time. Didn't really do much other than go to the expo.
Yeah, and it was really easy. Like we just like rocked up once there was no lines, like went up, got our bibs, like did a little walk around and then
Took
left.
a picture.
Yeah, took a picture.
Yeah.
But it was super easy. And like we ate a lot of pizza and pasta and tried to do as good of a job as we could. I found that my last couple carb loads did not sit well with me. Like I believe the research and that I should be getting, 500 to 600 grams those 2 days prior. But like I did that for Chicago and I felt really heavy and not good the next day, which there were a lot of factors that were part of that. But I decided to go a little bit less this time and aimed for like 400 grams those 2 days instead.
Yeah, I think I did like 550 on the Friday and like 500 on the Saturday.
Which is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but I also don't feel good on it either.
All day.
Yeah.
Like, and I know like no one really feels good on it, and I know it's necessary, but like we were eating all day, both days.
Yeah, just like constantly eating.
Yeah, it's like I never like crave a vegetable so much as I do during a carb load. Like I was just a carb at that point.
Yeah.
We're feeling prepared in the carb load front. So we went to bed by like 10 p.m. on Saturday. Race was Sunday, 8 a.m. start. We do kind of wish it was a little bit earlier, but that's just because we're used to races in Australia starting so early. But it was like actually nice that we got a full night's sleep. We didn't wake up till like 6:30 because the race start was only a 10-minute drive from our Airbnb. So we were able to just like get up, have a little bit of coffee, have some breakfast, and like, get out the door by 7:30. It really wasn't that hectic. Yeah. Anything else to add to that?
No.
We drove, the four of us. Kyle drove us over to the start. We parked, and it was like less than a 10-minute walk over to the start line. I used a bathroom that was on the way, which had a line, but not a long line. And I was glad I did that because like once you actually got to the start area, the lines for the porta potties were crazy.
Yeah. I think we probably got to the start 25 minutes ahead of time and if you'd gotten in the porta potty line, I don't know if you would have like made the race start.
Yeah. It was very cold at the start, like to be in a sports bra and shorts, but we didn't bring any throwaway clothes. So at least like it wasn't a whole lot of time to wait. And we were in corrals, so we were in Corral E, which is like kind of wild. This is a fast crew that shows up for Ballarat. Like, there was no one really policing the corrals. Like, there was definitely like a big mix of different letters in each one, I think. And the way Ballarat weekend is set up, the half marathon starts with the marathon. So you're all in the corrals together, and they do one loop while you do two. So it is a loop course. Going in, I didn't know if I was going to hate that or love it. It was going to be one of the two. Like, I don't really feel like there's an in-between with that, but it ended up being great.
I hate loop courses. I think this one was fine.
You hate them?
I don't like loop courses because like I feel like when you get to the second lap, you know how you felt on the last loop, and if you didn't feel good, it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I have so far to go. But this time I felt okay, so I'm fine with it.
But we should back up for a second and go over goals. So my personal best in the marathon is a 3:21, which I ran in Copenhagen in 2019. And I kind of had it in the back of my head that I wanted to go for the PB, even though my training might not have said I was there. And with the setbacks I'd had in the last month, like it probably wasn't realistic, but I wanted to try. And Kyle, his PB from Chicago was a 3:17, and he wasn't really feeling super confident about beating that anyways. So we just agreed to run together. What do you have to add? Do you want to talk about my goals?
How was your race?
Oh, my goal was loosely like to get back in PB territory, but like given the circumstances, I didn't actually think that was that realistic. And I wanted Kyle to run with me just so that I didn't like wimp out. Basically, like Chicago went really horribly for me, and I hit mile 16 and started walking, and I felt awful from start to finish. So my real goal for this was to feel good as you can in a marathon, and be back in the 3:20s at least. Like I hadn't run anything in the 3:20s since 2021. So it had been a minute, and I was really keen to get back there.
Well, you paced me for, what race was it? My first Melbourne, I think?
And
second Melbourne. So I feel like I had to repay the favor, you know?
Yeah. Not that I needed the pacing help. Like I I run like a metronome most of the time in a marathon, but I hit that 8-minute flat mile pace and I just stay there. And so like I thought having Kyle next to me would just be like an encouragement to get out of that zone a little bit more than maybe I would have on my own. So I think I was very excited to run together and get to experience Ballarat together. All right, race recap. Rufus, do you want to kick us off? Hi. So it has been 3 weeks since Ballarat, and I'm just getting through all this editing now because it's been taking a minute, and I have over 30 minutes of edited content right now, and I decided that means it needs to be 2 videos, not 1, because I feel like you're not going to want to sit there for 30 straight minutes of Kyle and I yapping. So here's part 1. This was all about training and the goals for the race, and then stay tuned for part 2, which will be the actual marathon recap. So thanks for bearing with us. I am trying to get faster at editing and get these up quicker, but just takes me a minute. So I really appreciate you watching. If you watched this first part, let me know what you thought. Please like the video and then stay tuned for part 2.